Of today. What needs to be done to level the playing field and champion the next generation of women founder CEOs in India? Hello and welcome to Young Turks, India's longest running show on startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Shireen Bhan, and joining me now to take this discussion forward, Priyanka Gill, co-founder of Good Glam Group, Shanti Mohan, founder at Let's Venture, and Padmaja Ruparel, co-founder at the Indian Angel Network. Ladies, many thanks for joining us here on the program. It was a historic moment, not just for women founders like you, Priyanka, or investors like Shanti and Padmaja, but for the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem. And Padmaja, let me start by talking to you about exactly that. We have seen a spate of IPOs, starting with Zomato. We're, of course, awaiting Paytm's listing. But yesterday, what Falguni and Nykaa managed to do, the only profitable unicorn to list, and what a listing it was. What did that moment mean for you?
I think you're absolutely right, and thank you for having me on the show. You're absolutely right, Shireen. I think Zomato created one paradigm where a startup listed, but Nykaa has taken it to the next level. It's not only women-led, and I think for me, the most defining moment was a woman-led, and when she started a venture at 50. I think she's not been an inspiration for women alone. It's been for across genders. And what an awesome journey. It just marks the growth of the startup ecosystem in India. In 9 years from start to IPO is exactly what we are seeing in the ecosystem, and it's getting faster and faster and bigger. So the defining moment, she's really set an aspiration for many, not only women startups, not only women-led companies emerging, but I think across the board. So for me, it was a huge inspiration.
What did the Nykaa listing mean for you, Priyanka?
I think it clearly is a watershed moment for the entire startup ecosystem for us in the country. It's a time when a profitable startup unicorn comes of age and lists, and it's female-led, and it does so well. It just shows that we really have come of age. And for me personally, it's a huge moment. I've been a big fangirl of Falguni and what she's built with Nykaa. The category for us, she's kind of the torchbearer for a category. As you know, I run a DTC beauty and personal care startup. I'm the co-founder of that. So hugely excited, and we can't wait for Nykaa to continue to flourish and really set the tone for all the IPOs that are to follow.
But Shanti, I'm taking a look at data. And as I said, while this is a defining moment for India's startup ecosystem, it also sends out a message as far as women entrepreneurs are concerned. Now, this is data from the Niti Aayog survey on women entrepreneurship. 66% women surveyed believe that lack of funding opportunities is a reality. The lack of awareness of government schemes, 49%. Scaling up marketing, 48%. Gender bias, 28%. Now, this survey includes the views of the top 30 women entrepreneurs who've actually won the Women Entrepreneurship Awards at Niti Aayog in 2019. So these are women who've already been able to get up the ladder of success. And this continues to be the reality. How much has changed? How much is changing, Shanti, and what more needs to be done?
Thanks, Shireen, for having me. And I think what we are seeing as data on the platform is that though there are a lot of women coming into the ecosystem, building companies, I think the ratio of women-led companies, the ratio of the funding is much lower, right? And like your data also says that, even on Let's Venture platform, we are actually seeing, though there are large number of startups getting funded, the women-led founders are actually much smaller in comparison to the male-led founder startups, right? And here I think the kind of the more important element to bring out is that we have to also focus on how can we enable more women investors to start looking at investing into startups. So that is one of the things we have started at Let's Venture, because we believe while you can create a lot of schemes for women founders, how do we look at the investing ecosystem and try to bring in more women into the investing space, so that would encourage more women founders to come in, right? So really kind of create a partnership between the investor and the founder on the women's side of it.
But Padmaja, to the point that was being made there by Shanti as well as Priyanka, it is not an equal playing field. It's gotten slightly better, but far from the ideal situation. Now, as someone who's been investing in Indian startups for 2 decades now, the realization that this bias exists, it is a reality. How do we ensure that we can get past that? We've now started to see funds specifically targeted at women entrepreneurs, at women-led businesses. But what more needs to be done to enhance participation and deepen the ecosystem?
I think the point made is very valid. I think there is a long way to go for women entrepreneurs to really be an equal player in the ecosystem. And I think investments and investors we will get, and I think it's a great idea what Shanti is saying. But more importantly, I think there is a huge need for women mentors to start mentoring and partnering with young startup founders. And interestingly, women founders are now starting up in various sectors. If we look at, Priyanka is, of course, leading with GoodGlam, we have Upasana leading with MobiKwik, but there are other companies like, young companies like Astrom, like FabValley, like Transcell. These are in drug discovery, telecom, deep tech. These are interesting startups and interesting sectors which are coming up. And we are increasingly bringing together a lot of mentors who can handhold them, not only on the tech and the business side, but on the softer side of how they can scale up and actually get out there and network with people. I think one of the big issues that women have is to network. So one big thing is to mentor them to get going, get talking to people and engage with industry. The second thing we are increasingly encouraging is for women to take board positions and senior positions in startups. As soon as you do that, I think it just increases their proximity to startups, taking risks, and how do you work in young, small companies and then starting up. And the last thing that I think which Falguni has already set in motion is for experienced women in careers to step up. And I'm hoping, really, really hoping that Falguni's story will be repeated really widely, because you have great experience in your careers. Now take that experience and build companies.
Again, I'm pointing out that we're not taking away from the success or the achievement by calling Falguni a woman entrepreneur or a female leader. The fact of the matter is it is harder. That is the reality. It is harder for women in this country and globally to move up the corporate ladder. And that is an acknowledgement of the manner in which they've been able to deliver on this success. But Priyanka, to the point that was being made there by Padmaja on the need for mentorship, on the need for networking, and that again is a reality that we must contend with. And in fact, at the CXXO initiative that you're a part of, the effort is to do exactly that, is to stand shoulder by shoulder along with other female entrepreneurs who are hoping to start up. What's that experience been like for you, Priyanka? And when you were starting up, when you were doing PopXO, for instance, before you actually became a part of the MyGlam group, what was that journey like for you? I mean, did you find it hard to raise funds? Did you find it hard to seek mentorship? What was that experience like for you?
Shireen, we've spoken about this many times, and it is hard to be a female. It is hard to be an entrepreneur. It is harder to be a female entrepreneur because all these biases, all these barriers, they are not a figment of our imagination, and they're not a rallying call for feminism in any way. They're just reality, right? You don't raise enough money as a female entrepreneur. Even if you are successful in raising, you raise less than what your male counterparts would do. There is a networking challenge because a lot of the networking happens in forums and spaces where women don't have access. Networking starts in the dorm room of an IIT somewhere where there are not enough women there anyway. And those patterns actually continue. So with CXXO, Bani Kola, she came forward and she said that I'm going to seed the next generation of female entrepreneurs. Not only are we going to give them money, but we are going to capitalize them well. And we're going to give them a network of strong female leaders and female mentors and a female community in which they can flourish and grow and really help them scale up. And, Sri, my main feeling when I saw Falguni ring that bell and at the IPO was that money talks. She's made so much money for herself. That's amazing. And she's made so much money for her investors. So the next time when an investor looks at a female entrepreneur pitching, he has to remember that, Falguni did make a lot of money for her investors.
Shanti, on the issue of funding as well as on the issue of, the diversity of the kinds of businesses that women founders are part of, the assumption that, it's largely going to be beauty or fashion, far from it. I mean, you look at what Ghazal is being able to do at Rivigo. Padmaja was talking about deep tech. I think this preconceived notion, are you starting to see a shift there as well?
Absolutely, Shireen. So I think the current generation of women founders coming up, I don't think that they have the biases in their mind as much as what used to be, right? So last decade, I think, was a little less women founders and, a lot more restrictive. But I think in the last 2 years, we have seen a lot of founders who do not wear the gender on their sleeve, right? So really seeing a lot of deep tech companies, seeing companies in the impact space, but actually creating a completely new market, right? Like Animal, right? We have Melora, which has kind of raised really a large round of funding, again, on Let's Venture, right? So really seeing good women founders who are actually building companies in the deep tech, clean tech, right? A lot of research space, there are a lot of women founders coming up there. So certainly breaking stereotypes, even in terms of the domain spaces they are building companies in. And we are seeing that happening more in India today.
Yes, breaking many of those stereotypes, and we hope that it's in fact going to lead to a paradigm change in the way that people and specifically investors look at these businesses. But Padmaja, to the point that was being made there by Shanti, now we've got a bunch of specific funds looking at funding women businesses under the ACT program as well. We've got a lot of women who are partnering with other startup founders to contribute and do their bit. As we move forward, what do you believe will have to be the next steps in this journey? To take this out of the metros, to take this into smaller towns across India?
Yeah, I think you've really hit upon a very, very high potential investing opportunity and for entrepreneurs to build. I think what we are seeing, and this has happened, I think, a little bit because of the pandemic with the technology enablement that has happened. I think a number of young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and even for that matter, men entrepreneurs are building very interesting ventures out of tier 2, tier 3 cities. And as this happens and they start getting funded, and we are seeing investors also go there and fund. We've invested in number of tier 2 cities like Indore, Kanpur, Goa, all of these places. And what we are finding is as that funding happens, it encourages more people to go start up. It encourages women to start up, both of them. And that is sort of cyclical. If money is available, entrepreneurs start starting up, people start going entrepreneur, and once there are startups, money chases. So I think this is a very interesting thing that is happening with the pandemic, because technology enablement has helped people to actually build scalable ventures even from tier 2, tier 3 towns. So I think that's going to increase, number one. Number two, I think they are able to now also access mentors, markets, all of that through virtual platforms, just be able to go through Zoom and etc. and really connect with the ecosystem, which is really, really helping them to grow faster. So tech has really been a driver.
But Priyanka, to the point that Padmaja was making, that perhaps because of technology, the use of technology, the deployment of technology, and using technology to be able to market and distribute, the barriers of threshold across the world of entrepreneurship, but perhaps more specifically for women, have made it easier for them to be able to start up. As someone in the D2C space, do you believe that this is going to be a sweet spot specifically?
To market has really kind of become a lot easier because of all these macro changes that we've seen, and Black Swan event, the big Black Swan event that we went to through with the coronavirus. And adoptability of behavior has just accelerated, right? Things that you would never have dreamt of doing. You would never have invited me on this call on Zoom if I was not sitting in the studio next to you right now. So there's so much behavior that has changed right now and it's become acceptable. It just made, as an entrepreneur, your life has become a lot easier. People are willing to transact more easily online. The people are willing to buy a lot of different things online that earlier wouldn't have. They're willing to adopt different behaviors. So I just think, not just for female-led startups or not just for, I think overall, we're just seeing this huge sea change that's happening right before our eyes, and habits are being adopted a lot faster. So to market your product is easier. The entire DTC boom that we are witnessing and we are kind of having the pleasure of witnessing right now is because all these mass adoptions of behavior has changed, right? And brands are being able to scale up a lot faster. Brands can get to market, social media, influencer marketing, all these huge trends that are happening right now has made everyone's life a lot easier. Building a brand is cheaper than it was before. It's easier. It's also a lot more crowded. And I think the best brands are going to surface. Ultimately, we genuinely believe that the customer is going to benefit, because India is and has been a brand poor country, even in the beauty space. Given the size of our population, we don't have enough brands out there. And all these kind of brands like ours that are coming up, they're there to fill in that gap because the customer is demanding it. Again, Shane, hugely excited, super pumped up. I think it's a great time to be an entrepreneur today in India.
You know, I think Falguni said it best. She said there's absolutely no reason to shy away from putting the spotlight on yourself. And for too long, far too long, women have been apologetic about doing so. And there's no reason for that to continue to happen. But Shanti, let me end by asking you, you know, when you started out, Shanti, before Let's Venture, what was the big hope that you had for yourself? And today in 2021, as you look at what's happening around you, I mean, what is the dream that you can now hope to dream of?
So that's a great question, Shireen, because in 2013, when we started Let's Venture, right, there was no online payments, there was no technology-led enablement platforms, right? And really at that point of time, my vision was very simple. How do you make the process of fundraise easy for both founders and investors, right? And my learning has been is that as a founder, and especially as a woman founder, don't play by the rule book, right? So don't try to find excuses on why things won't happen because you're a woman founder. I think there are a lot of reasons why you will fail. And there are a lot of people who will tell you that you're going to fail, right? So really, I think I've had a lot of that in my journey on Let's Venture, where we said we will go and actually go build the rule book and create the rules for the playground, right? But really today, I think in 2021, and like what Priyanka rightly said, I think thanks to you and thanks to all the spotlight and thanks to all the conversations around women founders, I think the journey is much better. That is one. And second is, I think there are a lot of people who are willing to give back today, right? So there are a lot of founders who are coming out and saying, I want to help build the ecosystem. And that has been probably the biggest takeaway for all of us in 2021, when we saw the ecosystem just come together, irrespective of whether you're a competitor or whether you are an equal player. I think people came together to say that I want to build the Indian ecosystem. And I think this decade does belong to the Indian entrepreneur. And, you know, we have to ensure that we keep the focus on the women founders, right? Help women entrepreneurs come up, because that has, again, been our learning at Let's Venture, is when you try to put the spotlight on an effort, like what we did on the Women Investing Network, you actually start to see the change happen, right? So the small shifts start to happen. And that could then go mainstream, right? Because a lot of conversations which are not easily discussed, or lot of conversations which are not comfortable start to get comfortable for other women founders.
Absolutely. And we're hoping that we continue to have. Yes, Priyanka, go ahead.
You have been a huge champion, right? And I think I messaged that to you as well. You've given outsized platforms to what would be relatively smaller startups because they were female-led. I've been the beneficiary of that kind of passion of yours. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you, by the way. I mean, we are in large part because of the visibility that we get. So just a big thank you for that.
Well, we're doing our bit. We believe in the entrepreneurial spirit of Indian entrepreneurs, and we've been happy to be partners on that journey for the past 2 decades here on Young Turks. But thanks very much, as always, Priyanka, Shanti and Padmaja for joining us. And we hope that the momentum that we see today continues to be built on, and we build sustainable businesses for the future that are fair and equitable as well. Appreciate you joining us here on Young Turks. We'll take a break. There's a lot more coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're back in a moment with more.
कैसे चल रही